Welcome to We Are Pius, the podcast where faith meets formation and our Thunderbolt community speaks from the heart. I'm Jeremy Eckler, Chief Administrative Officer of Pius X High School in Lincoln, Nebraska. And on each episode, we'll sit down with the people who make this place more than a school. They make it a faith-filled community. From educators and coaches to students, alumni, and leaders, we're exploring how Catholic education at Pius transforms lives, builds character, and shapes our future. Whether you're a parent, parishioner, or a proud graduate, you're invited into the conversation. So let's get started with that conversation today. I'm very happy to welcome Mr. Jared Wilhelm here. Jared, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So before we jump into kind of your backstory, tell us a little bit about everything you do at Pius. Your hands are all over the music programs here. Tell us a little bit about the things you do at Pius before we get into your story as well.
So I guess what I was mainly hired to do was run the band program. And so I do all of the instrumental music, all of the bands. We have 2 concert bands. We have a marching band. We have a jazz band, pep band. So I do all of those. And then last year, I'm really excited. We started an orchestra. And so we have an orchestra. And then the year before that, we started a mariachi.
So this is why I asked you to talk about all the things you do, because I knew I was going to leave something out. So we have started a mariachi?
We have started a mariachi.
We have an orchestra.
We have an orchestra.
Then you listed off 5 or 6 others, right?
Yeah. A bunch of different bands, yeah. And then I kind of facilitate a lot of the stuff going on in elementary.
Yes.
And so, I don't know, helping with schedules, helping just sort things out when things come up. Or occasionally I go out, like yesterday I was out helping some students at an elementary school, and they were just giving a little bit of extra help, and I really enjoy doing that too.
Well, that's kind of where I was introduced to you. I was the principal at Cathedral at the time and saw you running all over the town, working with band kids and band families. And it was fascinating to me because I don't think everyone understands this in the community necessarily. Our teachers for band are traveling teachers, right? So like, what is a day like for them?
So they'll hit 1 to 2 schools a day, and then different days are different schools.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone has 3 schools, and they go in between those, and they do lessons, and then they have some group bands, and it's a big job. Before I took over for Mike, I was running 4 elementary schools in Pius.
Yeah, I have a tuba player. I have a trombone player. And I became very familiar with the daily schedule in elementary and trying to make it all work. And then as principal, working hard too. And you referenced Mike. That's Mike Murphy, who's going to be on here.
Yes.
So you followed in Mike's steps. We'll get to that as well, in Mr. Murphy's steps. And he's a legend. So you've got these big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
All these bands you're building, the marching band. But before we get into all that, I think it'd be really interesting for people. You've obviously got a passion for this and a passion for education. Let's start at the start, though. Like, tell us a little bit about how you grew up and how you fell in love with music.
I grew up in Lincoln. It's funny, my parents didn't really do as much with music. I think my mom played clarinet for a couple of years, but when we all became an age where they were starting band, they had us all start and try it out. And my sister is also a music teacher. She's 7 years older than me, and so she kind of paved the way for me.
Yeah, right.
But also was like, because she got so interested, she would take me. She went to Lincoln High, and so she took me to the Lincoln High Jazz Band concert, and just got to meet and see. I didn't know what a marching band was, and so I went out and saw marching bands do their thing. So I kind of, even before I started, was starting to get fed a little bit that way, and then I just had a lot of great fortune, a lot of blessing in the type of people that were teaching me. So the Waverly band director who made Waverly this monster of a band program was Bob Magg. And when he stepped down from Waverly, he taught in LPS at an elementary school that I happened to be going to.
Wow. And
so that was really neat. I really didn't know who I was learning from, but he was a very, very good. And so I got a really good start that way. And then I went to Irving, and Bob Olmsted was there. And Bob Olmsted's retired now, but great teacher. I don't know. There are a lot of things I learned from him. And so I think that passion, I mean, honestly, it started early. I remember it being in about 7th grade when I first started thinking I kind of want to do something with this.
Wow.
I want to do something more with this.
So you have the siblings playing, right? How many siblings did you have?
I have 2 siblings. I have an older sister and an older brother. And
So you're the youngest.
Yeah, my sister, she's still a teacher. She's the band teacher at Moore Middle School.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is definitely now. It's just interesting because your parents weren't necessarily embedded in this culture or especially musical, maybe, but it took off in your family. Your sister's still teaching, and you're married to a band teacher as well. So tell us that story. So Alyssa's at Southwest.
She's at Southwest, and like me, she's also the department chair there. So we have really similar jobs, just at 2 different schools, and somehow it works out. I think he's looking out for us because I don't have a home game this weekend, but she does. But next week it flops the other way.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So there's always someone home with the kids. We're good to go. But so Alyssa and I are high school sweethearts.
Okay.
It's kind of funny how we ended up.
And what high school?
Southeast.
You guys came up through Southeast. Okay.
Yeah. And so basically a friend of mine was complaining that they couldn't get their friend to go to homecoming. And so I didn't know who she was at the time. And they're like, it's that girl down there. And so I ran down the steps. Not really my typical thing, but I guess I was in a good mood that day. And so I go up to this girl and I go, well, your friend says you won't go to homecoming. Why won't you go to homecoming? She listed all these excuses. And then she said, well, and I don't even have a date. And I go, well, you do now. So you can go. This is good. And that's how it got started.
Young Jared running down the hallway. Yeah.
And so it was just kind of fun. Because I didn't actually really know who she was, and we went to homecoming together because.
But she was into music too.
Yeah, she was in the band. She was a piccolo player. She's still she's an amazing flute player. Just awesome. She plays with Lincoln Missile Band on Sundays in the park. And this year, I think we were gone for one of them, but they hired her for every other one. She's an outstanding player.
One of the things I really admire about music educators, music teachers, is that they are very active playing instruments or playing their instrument and taking part in various orchestras and groups or just playing casually as well. So you said Alyssa's playing. Mm-hmm. You still play quite a bit then?
I play quite a bit. I'm in the Lincoln Community Concert Band. They meet on Monday nights.
Nice.
And it's just a lot of fun because it's...
Are there a lot of teachers as well in there?
I honestly, not as many. It's a lot of community members. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I love about what they do is on their concerts, they list everybody's profession by so it lists all the trumpets, but then it lists their profession.
So you see that universality.
And it's just, all of these different people. And it's, as a teacher, it's really amazing to look at that list because as I'm teaching my students, this is kind of what I'm hoping. I'm hoping they'll take that music and keep going and keep going. Yes. And it's a whole list of people of all walks of life who kept going. And I don't know, it's really great. And it's something that, I don't know, makes me smile every time. And at this point, there's been, I don't know, 6 to 10 of my students that have come in and played.
Oh, wow.
Some of them have played for a long time. Some of them played just for a little while. But I'm starting to see more and more of our Pius community that end up in the community band.
Yeah, and that's kind of the theme of this series is, why Pius matters, what makes it different. And obviously there's that faith component. There's that community component too. We just did the Fine Arts Hall of Fame. And then you're talking about your students coming up as well and playing. This has got to be really inspiring for you to see the next generation coming up again. Speaking of the next generation too, you have 3 kids. Are your kids playing?
Yes. My oldest plays clarinet and piano. That was something I never got to do, and so we're doing that for all of our
That's got to be amazing as a music teacher and as a dad to see that now as well.
And so she's playing, and she's really into vocal music too and theater. She really loves theater. And then my son, he's playing trumpet right now. His goal is to eventually switch to French horn. But his dad's a band teacher, so I'm like, we're gonna start on trumpet. We're gonna get you farther that way. But he's been doing a really great job with that. He also likes doing theater. He seems like he's kind of more going to the behind the scenes, like the crew and that type of stuff. He also does. He's recently got his black belt in Taekwondo.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
So yeah, he's got that going for him too. And then my youngest, she's in 3rd grade, so she hasn't officially started a band instrument, but she started playing piano. She wants to play trumpet. But yeah, all of my kids have had a lot of like early experiences on band instruments just because they're around it all the time. They go to band things constantly. So, yeah.
So you're as an educator, you're constantly trying to, fill the buckets for your students and inspire them. But there's also self-care and sort of your own interests in music. Are there pieces? Are there composers? Are there people in the music industry that you really look up to that inspire you? Or that you just listen to, like, hey, this is my time and this is what I want to listen to?
Yeah, so I have this really wide variety of styles of music I listen to. If I had to like pick one thing, it would probably be jazz. But I would say that might be 30% of my listening. I don't know. I go all over the place. Todd Creer always says that I listen to more vocal music than he does. And I really love like sacred choral music.
Yes.
I really like that. There's a Taizé is a music and spirituality thing. It does a lot of repetition. It's really meditative. I like doing that when I'm in like looking to pray or things like that. I listen to chant. I really love listening to chant, which kind of makes me a nerd, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, chant's amazing.
Yeah, there's just when it's done really well, it's great. But then there's just international music, bluegrass, all of this stuff. I like going out and listening and finding things I haven't heard, finding people who are doing new and cool things. There's some of the bigger cities over the last few years that these like I don't know, they're in subways and on street corners, and these little like brass bands that are just doing really, really cool thing. One of them called themselves Techno Funk Marching Band, and it's just they're just doing some crazy cool things that I haven't heard before, and I've always been drawn to that type of stuff too. Like when I was in college, a lot of world music was really appealing to me, so I would listen to like Indonesian gamelan music or Indian ragas. I mean, there's just so much. There's so much out there, and it's so interesting and such a great variety. I always say, like, even marching band, like, we know what the marching band is around here, but there's actually multiple different styles of marching band. In the United States, there's the HBCU bands that are kind of in the South, and it's different watching those bands than you're watching, say, UNL's marching band. It's really neat. They just do some really cool stuff. And then like Texas A&M, the Aggies, I was just watching a YouTube video of them. Yeah. They march in a really kind of like an old school. They call it counter marches, where it'll just be a block of kids marching, and then they just like turn into themselves, and they make all these weird formations and half the time I wonder how they're getting it done. Right. And then how they can make all of these weird shapes and all these things that they're doing with really some just basic marching things that I teach the kids down.
Yeah, I just find it incredible that you teach students all day, or you're acting as our chair and helping teachers teach. And in your spare time, you're watching YouTube clips of marching. Like when you said, kind of nerding out or whatever. Like, that's absolutely the type of person we want, here at Pius, leading our kids. And that it gives me goosebumps to think about like that commitment. Hey, in my downtime, I'm going to watch some marching band, clips. And I think that's incredible. I also like the variety of music. One of the things I'm finding really interesting with all the social media, all the technology, these questions about like, what is art? Because I could put something in ChatGPT and it pops it out. But to have an embodied experience, to hold an instrument, to be present, to watch marching, to march, to put a little group together, like some of these little bands you're putting together, and for kids to be together and have an experience embodied where they're syncing up and playing. It's just, I think this is incredibly valuable right now in a time where everything else is kind of virtual. This is very real. And I also think the thing that's incredible about what you're doing is music is a very particular art. I've thought a lot about this because you have that moment to listen to the music. That note is right now. It's immediate. I can go back to a painting, right? I can go back to a poem. But when I'm listening to one of your bands play, I'm there in that moment, and that is as present as I can be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a very spiritual experience, actually. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. So thank you for doing all that. I'm kind of going on my own little rant here. I'm like so inspired by you and this idea of you in your office watching the YouTube clips and then thinking more. But this is really leading me to my other question. Like, you're a talented guy. You're so fired up by music. And you make this decision. I want to be in education. So you've got the music side. What made you so driven to like, I want to bring this to students, and maybe particularly to Catholic school students?
Yeah. So I knew I wanted to do something in music. But I've always, I don't know, as I've reflected on my career, I've always kind of considered myself a teacher who chose music as opposed to a musician that chose to teach. And as I never see these things as they're coming at me. I always look back and go, oh, that makes sense. He was doing something there. And I was a few years into my teaching, and I look back and I thought, when I worked at a grocery store, they had me train people. When I did this, they had me teach people how to do. Everything I was doing was like teaching and working in that way. And so for me, music meant something to me, and it helped me a lot, especially in middle school. I don't know, like the tough times, the music was a place where everything fit and everything kind of came together for me. And then in high school, when I really was able to stretch my legs and I got to do some really special things in high school, I think that's where kind of that people seem to always acknowledge that I was good at teaching people to do things. And then that love and just started pulling together. As far as Catholic education, it's kind of funny because I remember even in middle school wanting to teach at Pius.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Because
and were you in middle school at a public school as well?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And
I just have to side note, when Jared talks about his faith, he talks about like Christ or God. He just says he. He's sitting right here in the room. So I mean, your faith is very like almost visceral, like it's right here.
Yeah.
So in some ways, I'm like surprised that you're going through public schools and thinking about Pius. On the other hand, like as I'm talking to you, I'm like, I mean, your spirituality you can just feel it. Were you like that? I mean, so the Catholic education thing and the spirituality, is that always just...
It's always been important to me. Like, that part's hard to like think back and describe, but it's always was kind of important to me. And it was always kind of like, it was kind of the rudder, like that kept me on track. So I had a lot of friends who, great people, but really struggled in middle school and someone with substance abuse. And I really felt like that rudder was the thing that helped me find the balance between supporting this person who meant a lot to me and keeping myself where I needed to go and where I was keeping,
Between the faith and the music.
Between the faith and the music and the people. And so it was...
You have to see this in your the students you teach now, too.
Yeah. And so I think it was always kind of important to me. And so the idea of taking something I loved and wanted to do and somehow being able to do that, like, for him, like for Christ, and do it. And that's... I don't know. For me, like just even being in this position, I can't think of a bigger honor than actually being here and working in his school with his students. It's hard to like put that into words. Like it's a huge honor to be able to be here.
Wow, and you're thinking about that as a junior high student.
Yeah,
now you're sort of living it.
Probably didn't catch it as well as I am now.
So this is definitely this is not a job for you. This is vocational. I mean, what you're describing, it's hard to articulate things that are transcendent, and we're trying to do that here. But this is a vocation. I mean, this is who you are.
Yeah,
it's incredible. Yeah.
I had
well, thanks for answering the call too.
Yeah, well,
you blessed so many lives, and
it's been just such a blessing because. Well, and it's kind of goes to what this place is. I have it's right down the hallway from my room. I can get there in less than 30 seconds. There's a chapel.
That's right.
And this was a while ago, but it's just one of those like meaningful things in my adult life that I don't think I'll ever like let go of or forget. But there was an opportunity and that was presented to me, and it would have been more money for my family, which would have helped a lot at the time. and I was in the chapel praying, and it's funny because it's even hard for me to like conceptualize it now, but like I felt this overwhelming calling to be here. And it was just, I'd never experienced anything like that. I'd never, like I said, I usually look back and go, oh, there it was.
Right.
And that was just such a meaningful thing that it kind of changed my perspective even more towards, I'm going to be here until he calls me somewhere else or calls someone else to be here. It's, and so that's a lot of that kind of came into vision and clarity in that moment where it was just like, I don't know, I'd never experienced anything like that before in my life.
I think a lot of, I hope, and I know because I've talked to a lot of teachers and staff here, that feeling is mutual, that they feel called and pulled here. And, the cliche is, teachers don't get into it just for the money, but the finances matter and making ends meet. And also living a life fulfilled and mission-focused matters too. Yeah. And so it's just an incredible thing. And I don't take this for granted. I talk about it, I think, on every episode about a properly ordered life, right? You had a big decision and you took it to prayer. Mm-hmm. You didn't try to own this or take it. You went right to the Lord. And here at Pius, you can go right down the hall to the chapel and do that. You've given so much to the students and to so many here at Pius. What have the students given to you? What have you learned from the students you've taught? You talked about your own experience coming up, your ability to relate to the kids, I think, by extension. What have you taken from the students? And is there a special light bulb moment that you always look forward to during the year or when you're working with a band?
Yeah, I learn from them every day. And honestly, that's one of the things I love about teaching, because it's this ever-changing puzzle with all these kids who all learn their own way and will understand in different ways. And I have to find the right angle to reach every one of them and putting that puzzle together. And in music, it's great because it's constant feedback. I give them feedback. They give me feedback by repeating. And I give them, and it's just feedback back and forth for 45 minutes or however long we're out there doing it. And so I grow a lot from them in different ways. My favorite light bulb moment every year is the spring concert. Okay. Because all of that work we did all the way leading up to that, all that stuff we built, that's kind of when it's on display, and that's kind of when it's there, and you just get, basically it's one giant victory. Like, yes, all those stories of those kids who like overcame, climbed the mountain, that's kind of where it all comes in together. So like last year's big one, marching band goes by Rolling Thunder when we're off and about. And there's a march, it's called a circus march, called Rolling Thunder, and it's so fast and it's so hard. And I almost didn't even program it because I'm like, is this too hard for us to? Am I pushing too much? But when they played it at that last concert, and they just knocked it out of the park, and it was crazy hard piece. And I don't know, it was just a really proud moment. And even listening back onto it, recordings would never sound quite as good as it does live, but like, just like, yeah, they played that really clean. They played that really well. Yeah. That took a lot of like effort and a lot of learning.
How many students are in? I'm gonna work to my point here. How many students are in the marching band?
110.
Okay, so we talk a lot about classroom management here, and we usually think of that as a teacher in front of 15 to 25 students. I've witnessed you in the bleachers in front of 100 plus students and directing them all literally in lockstep. And pausing, resetting, trying again, getting feedback, some positive, some critical, pointing out a little nuance here or there. That is like the height of classroom management. So to hear you talk about how all of those things, and that that starts in the summer, and builds, and how that all builds, and even you're kind of like, I wonder if this is too big for them, But when you look at the management and the coordination, and you've got great people around you too. You've got great people around you, but it is incredible. It is something, I would invite every listener here to go witness, to go to one concert you've never been to watch the band. If you've never gone before, if you go every year, take another look at all the coordination that's going into this, and the interplay between the directors, between you and the students. I mean, it's just incredible it's more than halftime in a football game. I mean, these competitions, and let's actually get into that. The various bands have done some amazing things, including last year's National Catholic Jazz Band.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that band, and then some of the other accolades, and then maybe some things coming up that people can look forward to attending?
Yeah. So that was a big moment for me.
Sure.
Like I said, jazz is one of my favorite forms of music, and just working on developing the jazz program here has been something I really love. Like I said, I think it's one of the great American art forms is jazz, and so
very American. Yep.
Yeah, that was a really fun phone call.
How big is that? How big is that band?
It's band? About 17 kids. It varies a little bit depending on.
And so had they gone to a competition where they discovered? I mean, you said you got a phone call.
Yeah, so we don't do a ton of competitions with our jazz band. That one was a kind of you mailed in a recording. And so it was jazz bands from across the United States mailing in recordings to it's the National Catholic Band Association.
Nice.
And so it's a relatively newer competition, but we mailed it in, and I was actually in class, and I get a phone call, and he's like, "Hey, I just needed to let you know before we put out the press release."
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh, okay,
that'll make your
And so that was really nice. And actually, the funny thing was, we did it the year before too. They had some problems with it wasn't the jazz band, actually. It was our concert band, and it was our younger concert band, because there's different categories. For jazz band, it's
just open.
It's just everyone.
It's
open.
Okay.
But the other one, it's based on what grade level you were playing. Okay. And so our younger students, our non-audition band, who I always laugh, because I was like, "Hey guys, do you want to do this? Like, I'm gonna make the audition band do it because I want to try it out. But do you guys want to try this?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's go." And then they're named the top band in their class in the country. And so that's always a fun one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really cool to have hit that twice in different areas, but hit that twice. And the second time, when I was talking to the guy on the phone, he was just so complimentary of all of our bands, and he basically was like, "I can't tell you too much, but you were really close on the other ones too." Wow. And he's like, "Yeah, so we're doing well," and that's nice. It's been Mike set such a huge foundation, like you said, he's such a legend and such a good. He's always been such a good friend, and no one understands this better than Mike. So we do lunch every once in a while. We chat things out.
Yeah.
But to go, even like our marching band, state has always been the big. That's the elusive one. That one's the hardest to get. And my first year here, we did it in 2014, and I'm like, oh, okay. So that was the first one in like 27 years or something, and so that was a little bit of stress for the next year.
Sure,
but then we get it again in 2018, and then 21, 22, 23, 24, and we're hoping for 25.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
the success. I mean,
yeah,
it's not just the saying a lot in maybe like sports, especially. You don't want to be the guy who follows the guy. You don't want to be the coach after the legend. But you came in, like, made it your own. Yeah. Continued the relationship with Mike, built upon what he did, and that success is just unbelievable. And it's like one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, because what makes Pius different, we talk about the faith, we talk about properly ordered, starting with prayer and our relationship with Christ, and that leads to this excellence. I mean, this is the validation of a process. This is the validation, the verification of things done correctly. Yeah, and that's just a huge tribute to Mr. Murphy. But also then to you to carry this forward is incredible. Yeah,
the handoff was done super well. Like, that was well thought through. Like, they knew they were going to get a new elementary staff person, and they also knew that in the next few years he was wanting to maybe step down or step to the side. And so when I came in, the music community is a really small one. And so I heard about the job, I think, before it was posted, because Mike was already telling everybody. And then the it's this job, but it eventually would become the Pius. And so, like, Mike really intentionally just started handing over things. So it was really, really smooth. A lot of times you switch directors, even in a successful program, you'll lose, 10%, 20%, sometimes more of your kids because they're just committed to that one director. And it's just hard to make that switch sometimes. But he was just so smooth with it. And just the slow handoff so that the kids were just as comfortable with me as they were with him.
And for what it's worth, I think this is a cultural thing at Pius. I mean, these conversations could also go into theater, vocal, activities, academics. That's my big, our theme here is in the one, we are one, Pope Leo's theme. And this whole idea of this shared vision, this shared mission, the way your work complements someone down the hall. And, but boy, I think one of the areas that's probably less recognized or known by our broader community is all of that success, all those titles, that national standing for the Catholic Jazz Band. It's just incredible. So I was just so excited to get you on here to talk about that. We got to get to the lightning round here in a little bit, but are there performances or things coming up? Obviously, we've got football games and half times, and I hope people stay and watch and say, now they kind of understand the work and the things that go in, if the casual person maybe in the music world. But what else is coming up that people can go and witness these kids' great work?
So we do our own kind of exhibition and clinic, which is usually mid-September. And there's 3 or 4 other bands that will come and do it with us. Okay. It started with just a bunch of it's my wife's band and a good friend of ours and some other So
this is nothing formal. This is just getting together and playing and kind of comparing.
It's somewhat
notes.
Formal.
Okay.
So I hire clinicians.
Okay.
And so usually you would do a rating or something like that, but that we wanted to get our kids in front of someone who's going to give them feedback like a judge will at a competition earlier, because for a new member, it's really a foreign idea. Like people will go out and walk out amongst the band sometimes and actually stand in front of them and listen, and getting them used to yes. And when we say everything has to be uniform, we mean really uniform. And, because that's kind of the culture and the history behind, it actually comes from marching bands are originally a military thing. It just evolved into what it is now.
Is a date set for that?
This year it's September 13th. And then our 3 competitions we go to, almost always Links, LPS is every year, and then state is every year. Sometimes Links becomes Bennington, but it just depends. But we went to Links last year, and Links, that was really nice. They do rank. They give you a rating, but they also rank. And so we were top in our class and second overall, which was really fun to do.
That's amazing.
And
you mentioned the spring concert, which is really well attended, but should be just packed. It's incredible.
It's great. It's so much fun to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's culmination. That's the celebration.
Yeah. So in October, this year it's 11th, 18th, and 25th. So it's Saturdays in October, and it's usually the 3rd.
Those are
the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So Links is the 11th.
Okay.
LPS is the 18th. State is on the 25th. And it always works out to be the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Saturdays in October.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Great. Well, this has been excellent. Thanks for all you do, and it's a lot, and for all your passion as well. We typically like to finish these with some lightning round questions. We're the Thunderbolts, so we'll do some lightning too. But before we get to that, is there any last things you want the Pius community to know about you, your work, the bands, anything else? Or
no, it's like I said, it's an honor to work with these kids. They work so hard, and one of the things I realized early in my career, thanks on part to my mother, was that as a teacher, you can point a light and tell them the pitfalls, but they have to do the walking. They have to take it to that next point. And our students here at Pius, they do that work. And I don't know, I'm just always so proud of what they do and how they do it and how they get from where they are now to that state trophy or that national recognition. It speaks a ton for our students.
Yeah, it is. Then the families, the
Yeah.
parents that raise
Definitely.
them. It's incredible. Well said. Well, let's get to the lightning round now and have a little fun to close it up too. Mr. Wilhelm, who is your favorite saint right now? Who are you connecting with these days?
There's a bunch. I've honestly just been really focused on Mary lately and trying to dig into the rosary more. Mm-hmm. And that's been a lot just recent. Padre Pio has always kind of been inspiring to me. So that one keeps, when the relic of St. Jude came through, I don't know, I started connecting there too. And it was just that was a really moving moment for me. And so those are really? Mary was really a lot. I don't know, just whatever.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Do you have a favorite Bible verse?
Romans 12:2 is my usual go-to.
Okay.
It's do not be conformed to the world. And I don't know. I like to keep that one. That's my point. Isn't to do what everyone else is doing. My point is to do what He's asking me to do.
Yeah, that's kind of your North Star. That's beautiful. That's great. Well, one of my favorite questions gives us a chance to pray with you and for your intentions. Who or what are you praying for right now that the Pius community can join you?
So I was looking through, I don't know, and it got into some Marian apparitions. And one of the things I've been trying to focus on is I notice in a lot of the Marian apparitions, she's asking us to pray the rosary for poor sinners, lost souls, that sort of thing. So I've been praying a lot for the lost sinners and poor souls. That's kind of been my focus, just because it seems like she keeps asking us to.
Yeah,
so maybe I should start trying to join those voices.
Well, we all have those people in our lives that we're praying to bring back, and no, that's great, and we will certainly join you in those prayers. Who's your hero?
Probably my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that's a pretty common answer, but he just retired for the second time from a nonprofit that helped basically abused women, domestic violence problems, and he was a facilities coordinator there. And just the way he serves others is just, I don't know. And I have tons of stories from like a kid. We're all getting in the car after church and no one else is paying attention, but he sees someone who's not getting their car started. And so next thing you know, they're piling in our car too, or driving them home because they couldn't fix it. Or just, I don't know, he's always willing to drop everything and go help someone. And
wow, what a great model. And just to be aware, just to be aware of what's going on around you and not to do those things.
Yeah.
Wow, what a guy. That's great. What's one last thing you want the Thunderbolt community to know about you?
I don't know.
Any little special quirks or any little?
No, it's funny because you mentioned classroom management with all of those kids. And I'll tell you, it's funny because I go in front of concerts and I'll go and speak in front of adults and I don't know. I feel like I'm a mess. I'm saying and all this other stuff. You put me in front of 105 kids with noisemakers and I'm at home. I don't know, great, perfect. Let's roll. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, you might have been more nervous for this podcast than to stand in front of the band.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Well, you're crushing it. So last one is a prompt then. The best part about being a Thunderbolt is?
The connection with our faith. I don't know. I don't know how many times I've been blessed with the ability to walk down and kneel in the chapel and either work through something or just offer it back because it's out of my hands, right? And just remind myself that it wasn't mine to begin with. It was always His. Wow. So, yeah.
We need to end with that. That is perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank all of you for joining us on We Are Pius. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, share it with someone who loves Pius and Catholic education as much as we do. We are blessed to be bolts, and until next time, do your best to restore all things in Christ. Bye, everybody.